Hi everyone. Today is Saturday, May 18, 2013. I think it's worth some time for me to make another video on this Chinese kale because I have several comments from my viewer asking me when should they harvest the Kailan or Chinese kale, and where to cut the stem to ensure that the regrowth will happen. Well, where you cut the stem, there's no rule book on that one. I just did it out of experience and through trial and error. But the stem, when should you cut them? When should you harvest them? Is actually you can tell by looking at the plant. Now this one is a perfect one to harvest. First of all, there's a flower bud, so that's a sign right there that you should harvest them. Secondly, it's quite huge. Look at that. It's almost the size of the stalk or the stem. It's almost the size of in terms of diameter, it's almost the size of my thumb. And from here to about here, that's almost 12 inches. So that's a perfect size to harvest. Okay, from my standpoint, I think this is a good one to harvest. And so where should I cut the stem? Now, normally, let me show you the original rootstock, which is here. Hold on, let me get these leaves out of the way. Okay, so I got some reflection here. It's kind of hard for me to see too. So original rootstock is right here. This apparently is my first cut. So I usually cut about 2 inches or more above the ground level, but you can see they start to the growth point actually come from anywhere. So there's no really definitive place where you should cut them. But generally, I would like to cut them at least 2 inches above the ground, above the first two sets of leaves. So this is the original sets of leaves right here. So and then look at from the side shoots. The plant put out this long side shoots here, almost 10 inches tall. So this guy's a perfect time to harvest this guy. And then at the same time, this guy's putting out another side shoots too, but it's not as strong, it's not as vigorous as this guy. So this is the first growth, and this is the second growth coming out. And then if you look at here, look at it below the soil line. The plant actually put out another growth. So this is a really good sign. If you look at the plant, I do have some snail and some insect infestations here. The weather has been changing again this week. It's kind of cool again. I do have some aphids here, so I removed some of this aphis here, as you can see here. They love this plant because aphids love this plant because it's very nice and tender, juicy, you want to call it. So I will remove that to make sure that there's no insect infestations. That's what you worry about. Okay, so that's how I normally do it. And also, if I see so many leaves that it's infested with the insect, I just remove the leaves. It will not hurt the plant because the leaves do not serve. Well, it does serve some purpose, but this is not a fruit-bearing plant, so it doesn't require as much leaves. Even though it does require leaves to convert the sunlight into sugar, all that stuff, and make your plant much sweeter. So anyway, here we go. So this one, I'm going to cut this one. So and at the same time, this one I can cut it below here, right there. Okay, so I just cut it there, and this is very tender. I hope you can see that. And anywhere below that, you can tell it's very fibrous, it's very woody, and it's very hard in terms of the stem, the body of the plant. It's very hard. On top, this one, if you touch it, it's quite tender and soft. Not soft as in like a fruit, like a tomato, but it's quite. You can tell it's softer. So this is the size here I would harvest. Let me back up a little bit. So you see that? That's about 10 to 12 inches, about 10 inches. And like say the leaves, you can eat the leaves if it's tender, or you don't I mean, I normally don't like to eat the leaves because I think the best part is the stem. That's the best part. And sometimes you can actually remove some of the skin from the stem here, and it'll be very, very delicious, very tender. Okay, so let me show you another example from the other side where I cut a lot of cutting. Okay, let me pause this real quick. Okay, so I'm back again. This one here, it's skinnier, but it's really tall. It's about 12 inches in comparison to the one I just harvested. As you can see, if I put them side by side, it's almost twice as big. So this is really thin, but you can definitely eat them. So, like I say, I would definitely harvest this one. Okay, so I'll cut off this one. So it might be, the possibility might be that it's close to the end of the season, or the weather is warming up, so the plant is wearing out. That's my opinion, because I've been harvesting so many times, so many cuts on this plant that it still put out new growth. As you can see here, look at that. This is only about 3-4 inches. Everywhere there's a growth point right there. Let me find another one that can show you that example. This one is about 6 inches, and I would probably harvest this guy here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, and then this one right here. Look at this, how big this the stem is. Look at that. That's huge. That's almost the size of my thumb, and it's about 8 inches. So this one I would harvest this one too. And look at the many cuts I have on this guy here. This 1, 2, 3 original cut here. So almost 4 cut or 5 cut. And look at this one. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So every plant I have at least 3 or 4 to 5 cuts so far. And the plant's still doing quite well in terms of putting out new shoots and still staying alive. So I'm very surprised by how productive this plants, all this Kailan or these Chinese Kales are. Very productive. I mean, look here, look at this one here. Look at that, it's huge. Okay. So see, definitely the bottom here you wouldn't want to eat this bottom, but I would say from here, that's when you know the tender root. Look at that. See this, the skin, the plant actually had a kind of a coating, okay, a coating, light film coating. And when you rub it off a little bit, it's very green from the inside. I hope my camera can capture that. That's just an observation I made. So all this here will be harvested today for lunch. Okay, and there's some flour here. So, okay, so I hope I answer to the questions, or at least your comments on when should you harvest the stem, and where should you cut the stem. Okay, and my video wasn't meant to be a how-to, but anyway, thanks for the comments, and I appreciate you watching the video and sharing your thoughts. That's all about. That's the whole purpose of gardening, is to share your experience, comments, and all my videos really are records or document of the progress of how I grow my plant in my garden. So year after year, I gain more experience, and I learn from that, and I have a record of what I actually did. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for watching.